Wikipedia entry 014. HMS Hyacinth was one of 3 high-flyer-class protected cruisers built for the Royal Navy in the 1890s. Initially assigned to the Channel Fleet, she spent much of her early career as a flagship for the East Indies Station. She was reduced to reserve in 1912 after a lengthy refit before becoming the flagship of the Cape of Good Hope Station in 1913. After the beginning of World War I in August 1914, she spent the first few months of the war escorting convoys around South Africa. In early 1915, she was deployed to German East Africa to blockade the German light cruiser HMS Königsberg. She destroyed a German blockade runner attempting to bring supplies through the blockade in April, and sank a German merchant vessel in early 1916. Hyacinth remained on the Cape Station for the rest of the war and was paid off in 1919, although she was not sold for scrap until 1923. Hyacinth was designed to displace 5,740 tons. The ship had an overall length of 113.4 meters, a beam of 16.5 meters, and a draught of 9.0 meters. She was powered by 2 4-cylinder triple-expansion steam engines, each driving one shaft, which produced a total of 7,500 kilowatts, designed to give a maximum speed of 23 knots. The engines were powered by 18 Belleville boilers. She carried a maximum of 1,143 tons of coal, and her complement consisted of 470 officers and ratings. Her main armament consisted of 11 quick-firing 152mm Mark I guns. One of these guns was mounted on the forecastle, and 2 others were positioned on the quarterdeck. The remaining 8 guns were placed port and starboard amidships. They had a maximum range of approximately 9,100 meters with their 45-kilogram shells. 8 quick-firing 12-pounder 12 CWT guns were fitted for defense against torpedo boats. 1 additional 12-pounder 8 CWT gun could be dismounted for service ashore. Hyacinth also carried 6 3-pounder Hotchkiss guns and 2 submerged 18-inch torpedo tubes, 1 on each broadside. The ship's protective deck armor ranged in thickness from 38mm to 76mm. The engine hatches were protected by the 127mm of armor. The main guns were fitted with 3-inch gun shields, and the conning tower had armor 6 inches thick. Hyacinth was laid down by London and Glasgow Shipbuilding Company at their shipyard in Govan, Scotland, on the 27th of January, 1897, and launched on the 27th of October, 1898, when she was christened by Miss Richmond, wife of David Richmond, Lord Provost of Glasgow. She was completed on the 7th of December, 1899. She served with the Channel Fleet under Captain Douglas Gamble and took part in the Fleet Review held at Spithead on the 16th of August, 1902, for the coronation of King Edward VII. In 1903, she relieved her sister high flyer as a flagship of the East Indies Station. In April 1904, she took part in the Somaliland campaign, including supplying men for the landing party that stormed and captured the fort at Illig, the ship's guns supporting the attack. She was in reserve at Devonport Royal Dockyard in 1906 until she again became flagship of the East Indies Station in February 1907. In December 1910, she was used to bombard the town of Dubai after a British search party had become pinned down by local forces who were protesting a British incursion to search for arms traders. This became known as the Hyacinth Incident. She returned home in March 1911 for a refit at the Chatham Royal Dockyard and was transferred to the Reserve Third Fleet in February 1912. She was recommissioned a year later to serve as the flagship of the Cape of Good Hope Station, relieving her other sister, Hermes. Shortly before the beginning of the war, Rear Admiral Herbert King Hall, commander of the Cape Station, was ordered to find and shadow HMS Königsberg, based at the Dar es Salaam in German East Africa. Two of his ships, including Hyacinth, spotted the German ship, but neither was fast enough to follow her. In early September, she escorted the troop ships transporting the garrison of the Cape Colony home up to the central Atlantic before returning to the Cape. In November, King Hall briefly transferred his flag to the armored cruiser Minotaur after his command was strengthened in anticipation of a battle with the German East Sea Squadron after its victory in the Battle of Colonel. Hyacinth hoisted his flag after Minotaur was ordered home as a result of the decisive victory over the German squadron in the Battle of the Falklands in the early December 1914. When the pre-dreadnought battleship Goliath arrived later that month, he transferred his flag to her and ordered Hyacinth north to German East Africa. She arrived at the end of January 1915 and blockaded Königsberg in the refugee delta. Goliath was ordered to the Dardanelles on the 25th of March, and the ship again became King Hall's flagship. On the 14th of April, Hyacinth intercepted the captured British merchantman SS Rubens, making an attempt to deliver supplies to German East Africa. The cruiser spotted her bound for Tonga, but was not able to board and capture her due to one of her engines breaking down. Rubens was scuttled in shallow water in Monza Bay, out of sight of the Hyacinth, who believed that shelling her had set her ablaze. This was a ruse set by the crew, who had laid inflammable material on the deck and retired to the shore. The fire was too hot for her cargo to be salvaged when the Hyacinth crew approached the stranded ship. The Germans, however, were able to salvage all the arms and ammunition cargo after the fire had burnt out. Hyacinth remained on the Cape Station until the end of the war. On March 23, 1916, she sank the German merchant ship SS Tabora in Dar es Salaam. In January 1917, she was stationed off Tanganyika, where she served as a depot ship for the Royal Navy Air Service. On 6th of January, squadron leader Edwin Moon was on a reconnaissance flight with Commander Richard Bridgman as observer, when they were forced to land due to engine trouble and came down in a creek of the Rufiji River Delta. Moon and Bridgman wandered for days in the river delta before finally building a makeshift raft which was swept out to sea. Bridgman died of exposure, but Moon was blown back to shore where he was taken into captivity. Moon was awarded a bar for his Distinguished Service Order for the display of the greatest gallantry in attempting to save the life of his companion, together with the Royal Humane Society's Silver Medal for his attempts to save Bridgman's life, and the Legion of Honor, Croix de Chevalier. Bridgman's body was recovered from the sea and is buried in Dar es Salaam Commonwealth War Graves Commission Cemetery. Hyacinth was paid off in August 1919 and sold for scrap on the 11th of October, 1923. Thank you for your time. The article will be linked in the description. Have a nice day.